This continent is at a boiling point. While the debate over Muslim refugees rages in America, we're traveling across Europe, where the far right is turning angry rhetoric
The reality is that the next terrorist attack in Europe will be by Muslims.
into reality.
Thousands of people protested across Texas yesterday. They accused the administration of punishing undocumented children by removing them from their parents. The Department of Homeland Security confirms 1,995 children were separated from their parents between April 19th and May 31st.
Well, a congressman from Vermont alone can't do much, but many congressmen and many Americans speaking out can turn it around. This is un-American. It's appalling, and it's unnecessary.
I love to do plays that teach, okay? Entertain, absolutely, and I think this one did entertain, but it had a very strong message. I'd have to say it's about the refugee immigrant experience in the United States. I mean, you know, it follows one character, but all the different people that he meets are also in the same situation as either being refugees or immigrants. Some of them have been here longer than others. There are different problems that they deal with, but to me, that's what the play's about.
Immigration, getting separated from your family, it's happening now. This is a big issue.
This play definitely relates to a lot of people. It's about leaving home and going somewhere, you know, distant, and I think that's a message that anybody could relate to.
There's a big theme about going home, and I feel like pretty much anybody can connect with wanting to go home.
My hopes is that it will humanize refugees more than they have been in the United States, and that people will understand it's not just a single story, it's many stories of many people.
Well, I wanted to make sure that that culturally it was a very diverse group. Whenever you choose in a college situation, whenever you choose a play that is ethnically specific, you never know, because we're not a conservatory, which means we don't have 1,000 actors. We have a small group of actors, and we bring other actors from other parts of the college, which we love to do that. It was very exciting at auditions because you never know who's going to show up. I felt like we got the perfect cast, and I basically got, well, I didn't basically, I did, got everybody I wanted. So I was very excited. I love seeing how it grows. It's like having a kid and watching them grow up in 3 weeks' time. I think with any show, okay, I can't wait to see what it actually looks like, because when I'm working on it, the months and months and months, okay, 9, 10 months I work on a show usually before we go into rehearsal. And so I have all these images in my mind, but I know that those are not what's going to be on the stage, because actors, designers, everybody brings in a whole nother level. They bring their creativeness into it. And so you have in mind what you think it's going to look like. And then somebody comes in and they do something very different for the character, and I go, wow, love that. Well, I lean heavily on set designers. Set design was Joe Wazinski. One of the first things, going back to the script of when I first read it, one of the very first things I wrote on the first page was material, 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 because it takes place, majority of it in a sewing factory, okay? And I just thought the idea of material, and that's all I told her. And we didn't get the set, that material, until halfway through the process. But the swag came in, I mean, that was the first thing, one of the first things she showed me. And I was like blown away. And then at the next meeting, we're looking at the swag and how wonderful it is. And we're talking about, wow, we can use this to do furniture. We can use this to make the ocean. We can do this for all these different things, And then it became, again, the next step of figuring out all this stuff.
I do think the set, though, is going to be really surprising, because what we're doing is basically having like everything be present at the same time, every character be present on stage. Nobody ever goes off stage. Everybody's very much on the stage, and all our costumes are on stage. And then we also have this like beautiful blue swag thing, and it's just blue fabric, but it represents the ocean, and I think it's just really cool and innovative.
In the play, they're coming to America, right? And they come here with the idea that it's a better place, that their lives are going to be better, all these different ideas. And then they get here, and it's not necessarily so, So the flag was important, but if you think about the flag, it was not red, white, and blue. It was very faded. It was stained. It was, I wouldn't say ratty, okay, tattered, yeah. And that was on purpose. The idea of maybe what we're doing with refugees, dreamers, immigrants, migrants, is really destroying what our flag stands for.
The story's very serious, and there was a lot of things that were going on that weren't serious. There's a scene about a boat being overturned, and there was choreography in that. And I know nobody else in the room felt like that was bad or wrong or anything like that, but I was sitting there, I'm like, I didn't like that. That's something so serious. How are you doing choreography for a boat overturning and basically people dying? I was thinking about my Syrian friends and how, if they were in the audience, if they were watching this, how would they feel? I know this play is not meant for them. It's meant for a white audience who people who are unaware about these issues. But I did think of them, and if they were in the audience, how would they feel? It was kind of, I know it wasn't meant to be mockery, but it was kind of mockery. And I didn't feel like I could talk out about it because everybody else in the room seemed to think it was okay. And why would I go out and say something when everyone else is just chill?
Our associate director and choreographer, Laura, had to depart for creative differences.
I love Laura. She's done a lot for the show. Great worker, great person. I love the work she does. But for this particular show, I felt that, we had to focus more on the language and the message. And sometimes it felt like it wasn't coming across. Even though the choreography she did was beautiful, I really love the choreography. I felt like we had to focus more on the language itself.
It's my baby, right? I have an idea of what I want it to do. You bring in designers, they add their part to it, and that's great. And you bring in the choreographer and you add that part. But I felt, as we were getting further into the process, that we weren't looking at it the same way. And I felt like it was hurting the show, okay? And made that decision. It was a painful decision, okay? We did it, we cut the cord, so to speak, and the look on the cast face were like, oh my God.
But then there was a change. There was a change, and the whole play was knocked off course and started over and started from fresh.
Since this staff change, things have gone more smoothly because there's one unified vision.
I feel after she departed, we focused more on the language, you know, and the message feels like it's really coming across now, and it feels more natural in a way.
That was Mary Ellen's intention when she came up with the plays, that she wanted to tell the story and tell it in a way to get people's attention and change people's perspectives, because everybody's been so desensitized with the mass numbers that they forget that these refugees are people.
I think what we have now was a little bit more of what Mary Ellen was envisioning, and it just feels more right. It feels more like Anonymous now.
Rare, please, I like my meat rare.
It means garbage. It's in the garbage can. I have these baskets from Guatemala and these little Buddhas from Cambodia. They speak to me. Listen. I don't know how to begin. I don't know where to begin. I didn't know rats came that big. What, you don't believe me? No. Lying, I'm scared. I can see it in your eyes. I'm not scared. You should stop the truck, pull over.
No. What are you doing? You out of your mind?
Stop! Pull over!
No!
What are you doing? I said pull over!
You insane?
Wait!
You're going to keel over! Oh no! His tongue fell out of his mulish hole!
This is my Cerza apron.
No, it's tight. Oh, no. You can't film me. I only have mascara on one eye.
You know, I feel like the gardener, you know, not just the parent, but the gardener who's, you know, got the water and, you know, giving a little help every once in a while, making sure there's some sunshine and going through all of that stuff to help them get where they need to be and ultimately what you want the show to be. That was the interesting part about this. It was a small group, you know, with 11 actors. You know, you've got a stage manager, you've got 2 stage assistants, you've got an assistant director, and you've got, you know, like 3 people doing everything else. It's not a very big group, but we got very close very quickly.
We're all just such good friends. We're all a happy family.
We've become more comfortable with each other, and we've become more comfortable letting ourselves try different things. It leaves room for us to like really get into our character without being afraid of like being judged, because this is kind of like a judgment-free kind of like place.
There were actors that we cast that I saw them, some actors, you know, made this much growth and other actors made this much. And that's always a proud parent kind of thing, you know, when you're working with an actor as a director and they make, you know, leaps and bounds, you know, that's so much more than what you thought that they were capable of. And you think they're capable of anything.
I feel like people are going to go in expecting something maybe not as deep as they're going to get. You know, the show does deal with a lot of serious issues and a lot of current issues as well.
The main thing that I hope people get out of the show is that, you know, not to judge people by what they look like or where they come from or how they speak. Just, you know, we're all human. We all bleed the same color. Our insides all look the same. The only thing that divides us is like what we make divide us. And I think people, I hope, come out of the show looking for things they have in common with each other rather than what they have against each other.
I like to make a difference. You know, every once in a while I'll do a musical, just to do a musical. Or I'll do Shakespeare, okay? Because it's Shakespeare. But when I choose a play, I want to do something that's going to mean something to me. It's going to mean something to the people working on it, and ideally to the audience. I had a student, one of the cast members, come to me and said that one of their parents had said, I never thought about what refugees go through. I never thought about what an immigrant goes through and the horrendous things that can and do happen. And I was like, bingo. That's exactly, I said, just to have that one person say that to me, to change somebody's view, it's a success. Even if it's just one person, even if it's just one.
Became anonymous.
My name is anonymous.
My name is anonymous.
My name is anonymous. My name is anonymous. My name is anonymous.
If you've seen the show, I hope you really enjoy it. There's a lot of thought put into it, a lot of love. Don't include that.